The Play is the Thing, with your host, my mom, Judy Sleed. Her guest today, Doreen Corwith Eckert. More letters next to her name than the alphabet. You're going to learn a lot, so pay close attention. Here's Judy.
Well, hello again. Thank you, Jeff, for that wonderful introduction. And I have Doreen with me. Sometimes we call her Reilly, whom I know for quite a long time. How are you?
I'm well. Thank you.
Thank you for daring to come on my show.
It's an honor, actually.
Yes, well, I've known you for a long time, but
Yeah.
you just recently showed me your website, and I'm just floored. I'm amazed so many things you did in your life, and you never told me about it.
Oh, well, we were focused on my daughter. I took piano lessons with you
Yes,
for many years.
it is. While we were giving piano lessons to your daughter, Sarah, you were busy with other things.
I was.
Okay, let's tell the audience, let's tell the world what you're busy with.
Where should we start?
Where shall we start? Let's start from the beginning.
Okay.
Where were you born?
I was born in Watermill, New York in 1963. And I think I'm the 13th generation of my family to live in Watermill. 13th or 14th. My family came here in the 1600s, and they settled in Southampton and Watermill area. And my dad was a farmer.
A farmer. Well,
Farmer.
the Eckert name is familiar here in the Hamptons.
Well, it is. My husband's from Port Washington, upstate, up the island. So the Corwith part is the Watermill part. So, Dad-
And you went to school?
Yeah, I went to school in Southampton, so I went to the public school there. And then actually, as part of high school, I spent a year in India as a Rotary Exchange student.
Oh, in India.
India,
How's life
Mumbai.
in India?
It was interesting, very, very, very different, very different. I mean,
Did you have to learn the language?
Not a lot. I learned a little bit, pieces here and there, but in the big cities, they spoke English because they had been run by British rule for so long.
Do you remember any Indian expressions?
Well, mostly what I knew was Hindi, which is the national language, a little bit of Marathi, which is the state language of the area. And I only remember bits and pieces, little pieces, words here and there. So.
Can you say yes? How do you say yes?
Oh, I should remember that.
Can you say no?
No,
No, you forgot all that.
I know, it's terrible.
So,
Well, after that, I came back and finished high school in Southampton. And then I went to Penn State University, Pennsylvania State University, and I studied psychology, anthropology, and speech communications. And part of that, I got to go to Australia as another exchange program, so that was a thrill.
in Pennsylvania, you said you?
Yeah, State College, Pennsylvania. It's in the middle of the state.
What was your major?
Psychology and speech communications and some anthropology.
Psychology.
Uh-huh,
That's quite interesting.
yeah.
Did you ever treat anybody?
No, I didn't go to the level of therapy then. I did that later.
You did that later?
Yeah.
Oh. Did you cure anybody?
Well, I think curing comes from yourself. I'm a facilitator. I'm a
Yeah.
helper in health education now. But there was a long road to get me from Pennsylvania. I went to Australia for some time as an exchange student and went to the Australian National University there in Canberra, Australia. and then did some traveling, landed in Vermont for 10 years, and that's where I really got trained. I got trained as a massage therapist and a Reiki energy practitioner. And then I started with the Himalayan Institute, and I studied yoga and yoga psychology there.
All at once.
Well, over my
Not
20s.
all at once.
No.
One after the other.
Over my 20s and into my 30s.
And do these have any connection? Like people could take yoga and psychology and whatever else you
Yeah.
have to offer all at once?
Yeah.
And it turns out they're going to turn out to be a perfect person.
No perfect. Nobody's perfect. But my goal is to help people along the spiritual path. I'm mostly interested in the spiritual side of it, but often that comes from starting on the physical level. So we work on the physical. If there's an ailment, or they just need to manage stress, for instance, or we work with lifestyle counseling.
Can you speak up a little louder?
Okay.
For my benefit at my old age, my hearing is not
Sure. So
not so good as yours.
So I'm interested specifically in the spirituality, helping people go along on the spiritual path. But often in yoga, we start on the physical path. So we learn how to take care of the physical body. And because the body and the mind and the spirit are all connected, we end up working with all of them.
That's so true.
Yeah.
So when you give a service to somebody, you give all these three at
Well,
the
in my
same-
head, I'm
same
thinking
time?
about that, but it depends on what they want, what they come for, and after I interview them, it depends on what I see. I'll make suggestions, and then we'll work with that.
I see.
About 3 years ago, I got a degree in yoga movement therapy. So it's a medical-focused use of yoga as medicine. So let's say you go to a yoga class or you have a yoga teacher, they're teaching you in a classroom and everyone's there and they might have a theme, let's say, or they go through a set of postures. In yoga therapy, it's more specific. Say if you came to me and you were having trouble hearing, I would help you work with that specific challenge. And we might work on the physical, we might also work on mentally. How does that change when you can't hear? What happens mentally? And then we might work, also spiritually.
And how can people avail themselves in your services?
Well, I have a website, and I have brochures. You can find me pretty easily on the internet.
Find you easily?
Yeah, just Google my name. I have an office in Watermill, and then sometimes I teach in Southampton.
So they just have to look up
Yeah.
Doreen Eckert.
Yeah, or Doreen Corwith Eckert.
Corwith.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, also the name Corwith is also a familiar name out in the Hamptons. You
Yes,
have
it
two,
is.
Corwith and Eckert.
Yeah,
Is that because your ancestors?
the Corwith ancestors, yes. They were here for 400 years.
Wow, what did they do? Farming?
Yeah, they were shopkeepers. They ran the post office in Watermill
Oh.
and the general store and the big windmill in Watermill. That was my ancestor Samuel Corwith, had that made in Sag Harbor in 1812, and they brought it over to Watermill, and for about 90 years they ground the grain for the whole community in the watermill. In the windmill, sorry, I keep saying watermill. They also ground the grain there, but the windmill was made in Sag Harbor, and my family ran it until 1890-ish.
Oh, that is so interesting.
And then they ran the general store, and in the early 1900s, my great-grandfather got tired of running the store and wanted to run a farm. So he bought the land where my family is now, and he had cows and chickens, and they sold eggs. And then my grandfather sold peaches. They were the only peaches on eastern Long Island. People used to drive from really far away to come get these wonderful Corwith peaches. And then my brother and cousin took over the farm, and now they grow trees for the houses. Trees and potatoes.
Well, this
So
must
they're
have been
still
very,
farming.
very interesting for you as a child.
Well, there was a lot of land to run around on, but I was a female, and the family pretty much kept us separate. We stayed at home, and the men farmed, and that's the way it was in those days.
Have you been sewing up their trousers?
Ah! I guess my mother did most of that. Yeah.
Well, it's amazing. And then while they were doing all this, you were gallivanting to India, so you don't have to farm.
Yeah. That was an adventure. I was an adventurer in those days.
And when did you come back? What year?
1981.
And then you decided you get married.
No, that was 20 years later. I went to India in high school.
Yeah.
And then I went to college, and I lived many, many years away. And then in 2000, so 21 years later, or 19 years later, I came back to Long Island. And that's when I met my husband.
And you decided, let's try this now.
Well, it's a little more complicated than that, but I was on my way from Vermont to move to Virginia. And it became clear I needed to come back here instead, so I did. And I met my husband soon after.
Were you introduced?
Actually, at Tate's Bake Shop.
It's what?
At Tate's Bake Shop. Do you know the bake shop in Southampton called Tate's?
No.
No? Well,
No.
some of your
Should I
viewers might know.
Big shot?
Tate's
Tate. Oh,
Tate's
the Tate Bake
Bake
Shop.
Shop. Yeah.
Ah, so I know that.
Yeah. So when I was in high school, I worked there for years. When I came back in 2000, she was just starting the new version. There was all kinds of difficult things happened to the business, and some of us came back and helped her rebuild it. So while I was helping her rebuild it in that first year, my husband used to come in every day for coffee, and his daughter worked there. And she went home one day and said, "Dad, I have the woman for you." And he said, "Oh, come on."
Yeah.
And she introduced us, his daughter did, and it was very fast. We met, we got engaged, we got married, and then we had Sarah very quickly.
Love at first sight.
Well,
Almost.
something like that.
And of course you had the lovely Sarah.
And then we had Sarah, who's 18 and a half now.
Yes, wow.
So she loved,
And she fits into the family.
yeah.
And you also have a dog.
We have 2 dogs.
Two dogs.
Two
I
dogs.
remember the dogs.
Yeah.
They
crazy
used to
dogs.
attack me when I go to you.
Yep. One's crazy dog. The other one is sweet as can be. Yeah.
And is your daughter walking in your footsteps?
I don't know
What's her
yet.
interest?
I don't know yet. She's at Bard College, first year, and she's studying psychology and environmental studies and figuring it out.
She's
So-
not interested in music?
Well, she's got a beautiful voice and she knows how to play guitar, but I'm not sure she's going to study music.
Oh,
I don't know.
I heard her singing
Yeah,
twice.
yeah. Well, she sang for you
Yeah.
in your play Deli Bob
Yes.
when she was about 10.
And I have it on YouTube, and somebody responded to her singing because they didn't understand because it was in Hebrew.
Ah,
And she said, Kum Yaladim
Kum
Kumu.
Yaladim.
Oh, I love that song. I mean, she was making this person who listened made a big joke out of it.
okay.
I was singing, that's my favorite song.
Wow.
Sing it again. And then you invited me to some chorus where she had to use her soprano voice.
Oh, she was probably in the play. Was it the play at the high school?
No,
No?
no, this was sort of a concert.
Oh, yes, that was the Choral Society.
Yes, yes, and that's where I saw the lady you inquired about before. What's her name?
Grania?
Yes,
Okay,
Grania.
yeah. Yeah, that was some years ago, about 4 years ago. She was in the Choral Society for 2 or 3 different concerts she did.
She was a very lovely lady.
Yeah,
Yeah, she did a lot of work on Daily Bob.
yeah. Did you ever get that published or no?
No, nobody picked it up, and I still
Oh,
think
well.
it's a very good play.
Yeah. There's still time.
Yeah,
That's, in fact, one of the things I remember most about you. You were leaving our house one day, and I said out loud, I want to be more like her someday.
really?
And you said, there's still time.
Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, you don't even know how many people said that to me. I want to be more like you.
Yeah.
When I was younger.
Even now. Well, you're free. You're funny. You're playful. You never lost that playfulness. Most of us get very serious as we age.
Well, I tried. Do you know that I have 2 great grandchildren?
No. Wow.
Yes, how could they do that to me?
Who
My-
are they? Your daughter's kids?
My daughter's son,
Okay.
Jody's son, Matthew, had a little girl. She's about 1 year old now.
Wow.
Her name is Aria. Aria
And where does she live?
Woodstock.
Okay.
And all of a sudden they said, well, wait a minute, there's another one coming, a boy, and his name is Ryder.
Wow. So they're twins?
No, he came like more than a year after.
Okay.
But I haven't seen them yet
Hmm.
because of the virus.
Yeah.
They said don't travel.
Everything gets shut down.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm so surprised that you were able to send your daughter to a different town,
I know.
different state.
Well, only because it was in New York, and it's a small school, and they're extremely careful.
Oh, it's the same
State.
state.
Yeah, that's why. She was looking at schools all over, and if she'd picked any of the other ones, she probably wouldn't have gone, or if she could have gone, it would have been very, very difficult to get there and be back. Because they were in Minnesota, Washington, Oregon, Colorado. They were all over. So it was a good thing we ended up at that school, or she ended up at that school.
Somehow I remember when I gave piano lessons to your daughter, you got interested in playing.
Yeah,
Have you ever picked it up?
not really, no.
No.
No. I go by the piano every day, but I
Say
don't play
hello.
it. Say hello, yep. Right now it has some books sitting on it.
Oh, well,
Yeah.
you know, I'm very bad too because I don't play.
You don't play?
No, and if you play, you forget a lot of things.
Yeah, but it comes back if you do it.
I
You
mean,
still have a piano?
And things I used to be able to play without looking at the notes.
Right,
I can't do it
no.
anymore. I forgot.
Do you still have a piano at your house?
I have 2 pianos.
2?
2.
Wow.
I have that piano that you have seen,
Mm-hmm.
and then since my daughter passed away, she had a electric piano.
Ah,
So I brought it here because my son thinks that it would take less room but I can't get rid of the piano.
you don't want to get rid of the big one?
Nobody wants it.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
So I'd have 2 piano and nobody's playing them.
Well, that's not so good if you're tight on space.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So, and your husband, what is he doing now?
He's retired now. He was a carpenter. He worked in carpentry for 30 years. Wow. And before that, he worked many different jobs in New York City and near the city.
And now he's just...
Now he's retired. He takes care of me.
Maybe he wants to take piano lessons.
No, I don't think so.
That's not his thing.
No. Nope.
He's watching TV.
No, he goes out regularly. He has a group of friends he meets with every day, and he comes home and he's a great cook. You might remember that. He's a really good cook. So he does a lot
I
with
remember
meals.
he used to make
Venison?
venison. I used to give that to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you used to cook it and give it to me.
Yeah. In fact, I said to him this morning that I should bring you some things from my garden, but I forgot. I have carrots and Swiss chard, parsley.
Are you growing
lettuce.
things?
Oh, yeah. This year I had the best garden ever because
Wow.
I had more time in the spring and summer, and because last year my son-in-law built me boxes.
Well, we have wonderful soil here.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We do. And I have compost, so I add
And
to
he
it.
never thought about going into politics?
Oh, no.
No?
No. No, I stay away from all of that. I think the best way to handle politics, the best thing you can do is take care of what's going on inside. Yes, learn how to meditate, learn how to understand what's going on in your mental, emotional state, and take care of it. That's the best thing any of us can do, because if you
I
can't
think
take care of
Trump should
yourself,
have come to you for help.
well, I don't want to talk politics because it's tricky, but the best thing you can do is take care of your own, clean up your own house, so to speak.
I totally
Which is the book that
agree
I'm
with
writing.
you.
The book I'm writing is all about that. Here's my shameless plug for Good Soil.
You're not boring me. I don't know why.
No, it's maybe the air,
Yeah.
the evening. Anyway,
Well, I'm wearing my daughter's shirt. Isn't that? I want her to look cheerful.
you do look cheerful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And let's see, we covered just about everything.
Yeah.
And we have time to write a book.
Yes. I've been working on a book for about 15 years.
Yeah, could you tell us a little bit about it?
Sure. It's called Good Soil. Cultivating a strong moral foundation based on the yoga, the yama niyama, which is yoga's ethical code, and the 10 Commandments, which is one of the codes for the Abrahamic religions of Christianity, Islam, and Judaism. So it's an Eastern and Western. I seem to work on that intersection a lot in terms of healthcare, Western medicine, Eastern medicine, and also in spirituality. So I'm looking at the yoga ethics and the Western ethics, where they overlap, how they're different, and how studying both can make you stronger, have a stronger foundation, so you can be more ethical. And we need that in the world, I'll give you that much. I won't talk politics, but we definitely need. We
need somebody to look up to in politics.
Well, that's true. That's ideal. But we need to take care of our own house, teach our children well, treat each other well, have integrity.
Well, I don't know if you remember, I had written a book about that. The Fight of the Crayons.
Yes, I have it.
And now it could be purchased on Amazon.
Yeah.
And I think that comes
Same
along
idea, right?
with your ideas.
Yeah, that the children that don't need to fight, the crayons don't need to fight, right?
Yes.
They can get along.
I hope somebody will buy your book and my book.
There you go. Another shameless plug.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
I mean, there are an awful lot of good people in this world.
There are. Almost everybody is good. I really believe we all have a spark of light inside us, and what we do with it, it's up to us. Some people have a little more evil than others. You have to wonder, but I still think there's some director up there. The big man upstairs, my friend used to call him, or the divine presence that's watching over all of it.
Would people be able to respond to your website if they see this segment?
You mean to go find the website?
Yeah, because I get, when people look at this on YouTube, sometimes they give me a comment.
Yeah.
Like how they like it.
Yeah.
Like if anybody has any questions.
Maybe I can link the YouTube to my website, or my website to the YouTube.
That would be great.
I'm not very good at that stuff, but I'm learning.
I know, but
There's a
I
lot to
know you're
learn.
going to get a lot of responses to this.
Yeah,
This
we'll
is a
see.
very positive message
Good,
that you gave to the public.
good.
And I certainly hope that they could hear everything.
Because you couldn't? Well, I talked loud enough. I think the microphones will pick it up.
And I want to thank Jeff for announcing me. And I want to thank you, Doreen Eckert, for underwriting this show.
Mm-hmm.
And if you would like to see some more shows, I need more underwriters.
There you go.
And because everybody has a story,
Yep.
and we are off the air.